So I've literally been stuck inside all day working, and I need to work later through the night, and I need to work tomorrow all day. However, the dog is out of food, and I'll be damned if I'm not going to get out and have an excuse to ride my motorcycle. Look at this. Look at this day. I'm so nice. So I guess since all I'm doing today is going to pick up dog food, this is a good time to talk about the dog. Klaus. Klaus is a miniature pinscher. He is not a Chihuahua. I can't tell you how many times or somewhere, oh, look at the Chihuahua. It's not Chihuahua. So if I could describe Klaus, he's pretty much a cat. Weighs about 9 pounds, but the miniature pinscher breed looks exactly like a Doberman pinscher, only smaller, but it's actually the other way around. The Doberman pinscher looks like a big version of the miniature pinscher. I did a little reading up on them, and I found out that miniature pinschers were around before the Doberman, and the dude that bred the Doberman was like, oh, I like the looks of those little dogs, except I want a big one. And then he did all he could to make a big one. But these miniature pinschers, their breed actually stems from, it's a cross between a Dachshund, as far as I know, it's a cross between a Dachshund, so like a wiener dog, and an Italian Greyhound. He's got the coloring and pretty much the face of a Dachshund, and then the legs and body of an Italian Greyhound, and he runs like crazy like an Italian Greyhound. This will be a good opportunity for me to splice in as much Klaus footage as I see fit. Klaus, man! Go get Mama! Go get her! I mean, a dog that small and a dog that good looking, I know it's like a real manly thing to have a big manly dog, but a good rule of thumb is to keep the dog's turds smaller than your own.
A good rule of thumb is keep the dog's asshole below eye level.
I mean, I live in an area where you got to pick up after your pet, so if we're outside and he throws down this massive human dump and I got to get like a garbage bag to pick it up and sling it over my shoulder like Santa Claus, you know, I'm not down with that.
Feed your dog a lot of rubber bands, and when he takes a shit, there's usually a little loop on the end of it. Throw him in the neighbor's yard.
And if the dog's a complete maniac, you can just grab him. You know, there's no way a small dog like that is going to go wild and hurt somebody. But Klaus is basically a cat. Like the other day, I was sitting at my desk working, and he came up and did like that cat rub against your leg thing. I don't know what's wrong with him. He's got an identity crisis. But he's all kinds of crazy. I mean, there's that time he broke his leg, and he had that little cast.
Good boy.
That time where he was in his little coat running through the snow that was as high as him. And just recently we were at the dog park and he was in the middle of a mud puddle, and then apparently the scent of that mud puddle made him go crazy and he's just running all over the place. His standard pace is sprinting nonstop, just like that Italian Greyhound. Oh, Steak and Shake. I think that's what's one of the most underappreciated fast food joints ever. That's another plus for a small dog. Per meal, the little guy only eats like a quarter cup of food. I just bought dog food that he can eat for like a month. It was like $20. That's it. Like, if you have the right kind of dog, it can be so cheap. I mean, as long as he doesn't get sick or hurt or something like that. Even dog toys. People spend a fortune on dog toys. Like, Klaus's two favorite things are my wife's socks and water bottle caps. The next thing would be milk jugs. He likes milk jugs. Empty. And it's funny, too, because the milk jug is just the same size as him, so he'll go and pick it up by the cap and walk around with it, and he'll have to, like, barely scrape it on the ground to get it anywhere. Then I try and make him jump up onto chairs with it and run upstairs and whatnot. That's always fun. He's a maniac. I mean, he's a pretty good dog too. I think we had him potty trained at 8 weeks after we got him. So what is that? No, 7 weeks after we got him. So it's like 15 weeks old. He's permanently potty trained then. Pretty obedient. Comes when he's called. If he's running away and you yell stop. We've got a major rabbit issue in the backyard. They live under our deck, and every time we take him out back, if he has to pee, one of them will like shoot out from under the deck and run 20 yards and then go under the fence or something. He'll get about halfway there, we'll tell him to stop, and he'll stop. You can point at pretty much anything and tell him up, and he'll jump up onto it. I mean, within reason. I think his highest jump is like 4 feet maybe. When we take him to the dog park, he thinks he's a big dog, so he always plays with the big dogs. And I don't know, there's really nothing bad about this dog other than he's dependent on my wife and I to keep him alive, which that was our choice, I suppose. He does bark uncontrollably when the doorbell goes, but I mean, that's like 90% of dogs out there anyway. Wish he wouldn't do that. But that's like the only downside. He's great in the car. My wife and I drive from Chicago to New Orleans all the time. Well, that's it for this one. Till next time.
So we compromised and we got us a mid-sized dog. The first thing that dog does is take his nose and put it right in their crotch. What's his name? Ball sniffer.